Hello everyone, are you ready for another adventure? It's me, Wokey, and I'm back with another Fake Grand Order video. It's been a while since the last one, simply because I've been non-stop working just about, and the one day I didn't work, I did try to record a video, and then there was an audio issue, so I have to re-record after I just finished working right now, and it's also super late at night, so that's why I'm also being a little bit quiet to try not to wake anyone up. And if I sound tired, it's because I am very tired. But that's okay, because I get to talk about FGO for a bit. And today I'm going to be talking about the upcoming Valentine's Day event. And so let's get right into it. So, if you don't know, JP is 2 years ahead of us, so that way we actually know how everything goes. If I gave a sigh there, it's because I'm tired and not because I have to explain this all the time. But just in case you didn't know, I feel like, there you go, now you know. So that's how we know this event is going to be coming up right here. I just tried to click on the OBS instead of the site. I'm so tired. It's okay. It's going to happen for us sometime early February. The site news that they released did not actually give a firm date. I don't know why. They just decided to say hey, somewhere in early February instead of just giving us a hard date. But you know what? It's their prerogative, I guess. It'll be here from, on the JP version, it was here from the 17th to the 10th, which was 3 weeks' time, which is about as much time as you need to help grind a ladder event as you need. In terms of the participation, you only need to clear Wokey, but the main story of the event that will have spoilers in Lost Belt 3. There will also be spoilers for servants with locks and crafts as well during their Valentine's Craft Essence dialogue parts. That's basically them saying like, hey man, we're doing our best here. We want you to have access to this because it's Valentine's Day, so we're going to give you access even though you probably shouldn't in some cases. Now, in terms of what the event itself is, it's actually very simple and straightforward. There's nothing too fancy because it's just simple main quests, simple free quests that you do. Everything is focused in on these point rewards. You grind points by just doing the free quest, or sometimes I think main quests, and I think in some cases extra quests as well. And you try and get to the end of them, 3 million. And along the way, you pick up a bunch of items, including golden apples, some 5 summon tickets at the very least, Genesis eggs, golden foes, and these chocolates, some of them being surprise chocolates, some others being lock-in chocolates. To explain those, so basically, Valentine's is structured the following way. We grind a whole bunch going for these chocolates, and then we use them to get CEs from the servants. If they're female, it's usually chocolates or sweets of some kinds. If they're male, they usually just give gifts. The reason being it's that it's based off of Japan's version of Valentine's Day, which in Japan, apparently, women give chocolate and then men give something in return. That's what White Day is. There's also a whole bunch of other systems to it. Like, they have chocolate that's for people who you're interested in, I guess, romantically. And there's chocolates for, like, your friend dudes. And then I think even if you get, like, a chocolate that's just for a friend, I think you have to give them a present back, which feels like a good way to just kind of game the system if you're kind of a dick about it. But what do I know, huh? If I say too much, it's going to make me sound like a weird, bitter person, but I'm not. But I'm just saying, it seems like an easy way to exploit it, but at the same time, if I did get chocolate, even if as it was a friend, I would want to give a gift back and be like, man, that's so nice of you. So I guess it works out in the end. Feel free to explain it better if you know it better. All the way I know of it is from Random Animes and Harvest Moon, where Harvest Moon had a very similar system to that. So yeah, that's how we get the craft essences. In the chocolates, there's a bunch of different types of them. There's either the lock-on chocolates, which will let you pick a specific CE, and then there's the surprise chocolates, which is just any CE randomly from any of the servants that you have. If you've played last year, you know how this system goes, but if you're new, basically lock-on is to get a very specific one, that's obvious, and that really helps if you've been doing them since year 1 like I have, and you only have about 9 servants that need the Valentine's Day, and you don't want to go through your 100-something and hope to eventually gotcha your way to getting a new one. These lock-ons are a savior of your life for sure. But then there's also a special type of chocolate that I believe they introduced last year, which is the Blessed Chocolate. There's one for strawberry, and then there's the return gift. There's only one of them. You can only use one of them. And instead of using a lock-on, it's similar to a lock-on where you get the redeemed Valentine's CE of your choice, but also they get a passive skill. In this case, it's called Blessing of the Saint EX. Charges on MP gauge to the max at the start of the battle based on the MP level, and then they also get 50% bond points. So it's excellent if you're looking to farm with someone or if you're looking to get high bond points, and if you're lucky, they have both factors to them to make it that much easier for you. These specific chocolates, the Chaldea Standard, the Stranger Almond, the Tropical Memoria, the Chaldea Spirit, Spring Holiday, the Chaldea Petite Ange, and the Chaldea Petite 4 cannot be obtained from the event shop because these are previous year's MASH Valentine's Day CEs. I guess you have to play them if you actually want to. You don't, my bad, you should have been playing 3 years ago if you wanted them. She's not going to give you that chocolate, bro. Sorry. Special requirements, there are a couple. For example, if you want to get Oberon's Valentine's CE, you have to beat Avalon Lefay. I think for pretty obvious reasons, you should beat Avalon Lefay if you want to get Oberon's Valentine's CE. And then you also need to clear Valentine's Day 2023 main quest Act 7, I guess for us it'd be 2025, to receive Pope Johanna's Valentine's CE, which fair enough. And if you don't know, the Valentine's Day event things are all fully voiced. There's like a big 17 gigabyte update coming, which features all the voices from all the Valentine's Day event CEs. Some of them are really long, some of them are not. Like, obviously the one, for example, Oberon is super in-depth in what it's doing. I think there's one that's like a choose-your-own-adventure, where if you answer correctly, you don't die. And then if you answer the other way, you die. But if you're getting one from like a early year, like Mordred, it's like 10 seconds long, and it's her going, "Oh man, it's Valentine's Day. Here's a happy and chocolate bar. Cool, later." So there you go. And yeah, that's basically the event in a nutshell. It sounds like a lot, but it's a very simple event. It's a very grindy event, which is why it's 3 weeks long, and I expect that to kind of stay for us. But you can also probably grind this pretty casually as long as you're getting enough of the event CEs and stuff. And if not, at the last week, you can kind of blast through it. In terms of some mechanics in here, obviously there's going to be some special quests where you can get some teas. These are where the extra quests, I believe, come in. Yeah, this is the one where you can get them here. Shouldn't be too hard of a fight because obviously they want you to get these. It's not like the challenge quest. The challenge quest itself is also locked if you have to clear Act 7 and Solomon to actually have access to it. So keep that in mind if you're going through it. They'll be introducing this, which is a new button that flares if you own the CE or if you don't, which is very nice. I don't know if they already had it at that last year, but if not, that's a very nice addition. In terms of event bonuses, Pope Johanna gets 100% damage and 50% bond. All the previous year's Valentine's Day main headliner units get 50% damage and 20% to bond points. I'll name them a little bit later. Actually, I don't. They should also be getting their own banner, which is why I'm pretty sure that this banner is going to be one that is 100% the same. Which features Bazette, Mr. Sauronix Altar, Murasaki Shikabu, Bright Nero, Karen, Semiramis, and Sei Shonagon. And it will also feature their year's Valentine's CEs featured on there, which is pretty nice. Most of the Valentine's Day CEs aren't too crazy from what I can remember, but their art is really good. So, still worth having, like this one from Nero, Street Choco made, which Redrop does a new version of every year. It never gets used for a CE, but it is nice that Redrop continues to do that. Anyway, enough looking at very nice art. We'll go back to talking about the main event mechanics. The event CE is called the Cute Girl Seated Behind Me, which gives damage against man attributes plus 20%. When max limit broken, it's 25%. Starting NP 30% and max limit break 50%. Very basic. 30%. You also get, and when grinding, get 30% lovey-dovey heart points plus 30%. When max limit broken, it's 60. The event reward command codes are Evangelist of Unconditional Love is the 5-star event command code. Damage against chaotic alignment, plus 25% on the engraved card. The Drowsy Bomb, which is the 4-star, ignore defense on engraved card. When attacking with the engraved card, inflict curse, 500 damage 3 turns on the target. And then finally, Holy Paper Bag, when attacking on the engraved card, remove 1 attack up buff from the target and critical damage plus 5% on the engraved card. And yeah, that's the basic of it. I guess some other things from last year, you'll be able to get the previous year's command code, which was the Buddy Ring, for exchanging 300 mana prisms for it. Quests will obviously be locked It will be here on the first day of the event. You'll be able to go up to Main Quest Act 2, and then the next day it's 3, next day is 4, next day is 5, next day is 6, next day is 7. When we actually know the date of the event, we'll know a little bit more about that, but for right now, early February, stuff like that. And finally, let's go on to the summoning banners. I've already mentioned one of them. I'm only going to be talking about Pope Johanna as far as the unit goes. There should also be, in theory, in a banner featuring all these units that will be, I think, unleashed a week after Pope Johanna's banner starts. I will hold off on talking about and mentioning the units here, only because we still haven't gotten a banner with King Protea on it, and I would have honestly expected them to do so. If you don't know, on New Year's, there was supposed to be a banner featuring King Protea. They did not release one. And I was expecting that they were holding it, and a lot of people were expecting, well, obviously when, for Lost Belt 7, this is just going to replace a banner that they lost because of Nido Altar. They didn't do that. Now I'm waiting to see if they're going to add it to the download campaign that is coming up, which should actually release before this event. And if they don't there, I think it's legitimate that I think you can kind of say, like, hey man, there were people legitimately waiting a year plus for that banner, that were saving specifically with the idea of being able to pity King Protea. And don't tell me that, like, hey, that's hyperbole. No, those people told me specifically. Like, they told me, like, hey, man, it's kind of a bummer that I wasn't able to summon for the unit I want. And I agree with them. That is a bummer. They shouldn't be doing that. They should not be just replacing Melt with King Protea. They should have 2 banners if they so wish. But whatever. That maybe is another individual. If they do not release a banner featuring King Protea at some point, I'll have more to say about that later. But for right now, I'm assuming it's going to be done with the download campaign. Let's go back to Valentine's Day. So yeah, when this thing gets legitimately announced, I'll go over the banner units as they're releasing. Shouldn't be too hard, because one I own, I think, basically all of them. None of them are limited, so the only reason that you would summon on them is that you're a big fan of them and you want more copies of them. Otherwise, you're pretty good to skip most of them. But finally, speaking of a skip, Pope Johanna. I don't mean to be mean to Pope Johanna. I am Catholic, so therefore I do have reverence for the Pope, even though this is a fake Pope. That's still enough in my book. If I see a cute girl Pope, I say, why not? Let it happen, man. It's cool with me. What was I going about? Pope Johanna. She ends up being a very easy skip for most people, just because it's a very tough year this year in terms of summoning, so you kind of have to pick your battles. But I'm still going to go over her and talk about her and say some stuff about her, because I feel like there's been a lot of people talking about how bad she is, and I don't think she's actually that bad when you look at a lot of units. Pope Johanna, or Popus Johanna, she's a ruler. She has 2 quicks, 2 arts, 1 buster. 4 hits on quicks, 3 hits on arts, 3 hits on buster, 5 hits on extra. Her active skills are Saint of Imaginations A, increases 1 ally's critical star absorption of arts cards for 3 turns, increase the crit damage of arts cards for 3 turns, and then gain crit stars every turn for 3 turns. This is also, again, to 1 ally for the critical star stuff, just to make sure I didn't make it sound like it goes to the party. Arts absorption is 500%, arts crit damage is 100%, and the star regen is 10 on a cooldown of 6. And the Shun Papal Procession C is her second skill. Increases the party's art performance for 3 turns. Grants party debuff immunity for 1 time 3 turns. Reduces party's damage taken for 3 turns. Charges own MP gauge. 20% to arts. 1,000 minus damage taken. I guess 1,000 damage reduced is the better way of saying it. 30% to NP increase to herself. No, to the... Yes, to herself. Okay. Cooldown 7. Again, it's late. In my head's dumb. I'm hopeful that I don't miss anything that I have to say, but charges party's MP gauge every turn for 3 turns, and then increase party's attack for 3 turns is her final skill, and it's called Disputation of the Pope EX, and that's on a cooldown of 8. Her 2 passive skills are Magic Resistance EX and Territory Creation A. Her third skill is an anti-rider attack damage aptitude, which is an increase against rider enemies. And her noble phantasm is the Legatum Papal Thronus, offering prayers of the Radiant Throne of Glory, rank A, Arts Noble Phantasm, anti-unit, parentheses, self, hits 3 times, increase own damage against enemies with the evil alignment by 50% for 1 turn, this activates first, deals damage to all enemies, inflicts buff block for 1 time 3 turns to them. 450% damage is what it does at MP level 1. If you get her all the way to MP level 5, it's 750%. And then she also, on the overcharge, deals extra damage against man attribute, 150% at charge level 1. And if you get her all the way to the final charge level, it is 200%. And that is Pope Johanna. Pope Johanna is good. It's just not great, is the best way of saying it. So, in terms of looping, she should be able to loop, if only because she's an arts unit. It's very hard to not loop with an arts unit. You'd have to go out of your way to try and find a way to not loop with an arts unit. That's how easy it is to loop with an arts unit, I feel like. The thing that she will run into problems with, though, is her damage, because she actually only gives herself 20% attack on the third skill and 20% on arts performance on the second skill. So that means all her damage is tied into hitting an evil man attributed enemy. If you're not doing that, you are dealing a lot less damage, and because she's a ruler, you're already likely not attacking with type advantage unless you're fighting a berserker or you're fighting a moon cancer. So if you want to make up for the damage, you probably have to do something like using the Black Grail. Something like that to make up for the lack of damage. She doesn't have it as bad as, let's say, Ruler Artoria, who Ruler Artoria has huge problems with being able to loop. I should know this because I use her and I find ways to do it in spite of herself. So she's not like that bad, obviously. She's a little bit better than that, but she doesn't end up being as good as Ruler Moriarty, who I feel like if you're going to be using a ruler who is arts AoE, you would likely want to be using Ruler Moriarty instead, as far as looping goes. In terms of using her for non-looping purposes, I actually do like this first skill a whole bunch. I think she offers some pretty decent support across everything, with the only really crazy thing being here is being able to give 100% arts crit damage to one ally. The usual issue here then is you're not usually using a lot of units that go full 3 arts. You're usually using one that goes 2 arts, a buster, and 2 quicks, so maybe that hampers a little bit of what she can do. But if you can make it work, I think it can come in as pretty dang handy, especially with her being a ruler. She may sometimes lack damage as far as looping goes, but in Challenge Quest, it's very nice to be a ruler because your type advantage makes it so that you're usually at type disadvantage, so all your opponents will attack you and you'll take less damage from it, and that's very nice and very good to have for sure. So yeah, she ends up being a unit that I think is good, but for the most part gives kind of niche value for a lot of people. If you like her, then obviously go for her. You're going to be having a unit that's actually legitimately good. The thing is that there's also a lot of great units around her, like for example Cuckoo, who is obviously a much better unit, and it's also where most people's St. Quartz went to go die, and if they do have anything left over, they're likely saving it for Draco, or if not Draco, someone like Tiamat. If not Tiamat, maybe someone like Durga. If not Durga, it's for Anniversary. If not for Anniversary, it's Summer, and if not for Summer, who knows, maybe there's still people going out there waiting for King Protea and her banner to show up. For any multiple reasons, there's plenty of good units out there who are on par with her or better and are likely more favorited as far as a character goes. I like Pope Johanna a whole bunch. I liked her a whole bunch in Traum, actually. But I feel like she's not as popular as a lot of other people say. Not as a lot of people say. I don't see her as much as everyone else, which I think is kind of a shame, because I thought she was cool in the story, and I actually can't wait to read more about her in the Valentine's Day event. That could be pretty cool. Especially because I'm trying to figure out how, I won't say anything else. I'll just say, I'll just let it go from there. You'll learn about it in the story immediately in Valentine's Day. There's no reason for me to spoil it. So yeah, I think she ends up being, the way I see her at best, I feel like she's the best kind of slot as a unit who you'd be happy to get on a GSSR, who is usually typically not your main focus, but is a new unit you didn't go that hard for because you didn't have the ability to summon for. Like, for me, I think that's where she's going to kind of fit, as I kind of doubt I'm able to get her. I feel like all my luck went to Cuckoo. I will be doing a summon banner, summon video. So, yeah, I'll be doing the banner myself personally. God, I'm not laughing. Ever since I said 10 St. Quartz instead of 10 crit stars, I've been a little, I've been trying to do a little bit better of not saying it. I did it pretty recently, so maybe it's like I've definitely been trying to watch my words a little bit better for these videos. Which, to be fair, I haven't recorded that many in between, but you don't know that. You don't see my failed videos that I failed to record. You'll never see those because they're failed videos for a reason. Anyway, I think she ends up filling out the perfect slot of a unit that I think would go great in a GSSR, where she's likely not my main go-to, but she's on it and she's new and I wasn't able to get her, and I'm happy that I get her when I got her. So there you go. I hope that they eventually do buff her, though. If they do buff her, I think she probably needs a buff on this third skill, because on a cooldown of 8, 20% MP regen and 20% attack is not that great. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. 8 turns? Like, even if this was on a cooldown of 6, I feel like it would be like, it's still her weakest skill. Cooldown of 8 is insane to me, but I don't know. Tell me what you think she would need. I think this skill is still really good. 100% crit damage is 100% crit damage after all. Anyway, feel free to tell me if you're going to be going for her, and I wish you the best of luck if you are. And that's the end of the video, everyone. I made it there at the end. Hopefully with not too many guffaws and screw-ups, a couple along the way, but those are to come expected with these. So again, if you made it all the way to the end, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It does help out the channel a whole bunch. And it motivates me to continue making videos, because I'm really tired a lot of the time when I'm recording videos, just because work beats it the hell out of me. Even today at work, I was like, oh my god, I was like so angry at my fellow supervisors, like, but boiling down, because it was like, there's no one else here, man. I can't let this distract me from my work, or otherwise I'm never gonna get anything finished. They messed up, and I had to clean up their mess-ups, and I feel like I did not need to do that. But anyway, you can see what I'm usually dealing with. So I'm actually very thankful that there's people that watch these videos that give me an outlet to try and talk about something I actually care about. Not to say I don't care about my work. I care about it too much. That's the problem. Anyway, end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Best of luck to you out there. And I'll also likely see you for when the download celebration. This should actually come out before this one. I forgot to mention it in the previous part. We're saying it. But this is also likely coming up. This on the JP version of the game, this came before the actual event itself. You can see here 17th, 13th. So likely this gets announced pretty soon, I think. Who knows? NA is weird with it. And hopefully this is where King Protea shows up. But anyway, now legitimately it's the end of the video. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.